I'm Timmy. I'm Sahaj.
I'm Karnap, and welcome to
Bonesaw!
Bonesaw is ready!
The goal of this project was to design a rocket using the materials given and carry an egg to an altitude of 700 feet and then safely carry this egg back to the ground without the egg cracking. We had 3 days in the lab to design and build our rocket. For our body tube design, our idea was to make the payload tube as short as possible to minimize the mass of the parachute floating down. We decided on 7 inches instead of the minimum of 6 to make sure we had enough room for all the things in the parachute section. For our fins, we went with the basic trapezoidal design because the shape has low drag. We chose only 3 fins because the 4th fin would add more mass and would not change the stability all that much. For the parachute, we used a circular parachute and calculated the diameter to get a diameter of 13 inches. Because our rocket was going too high in open rocket, the day of the launch we decided to add 50 grams.
So this is the altitude versus time graph for our rocket. According to our graph, it shows that our rocket achieved a maximum altitude of 702 feet, approximately 6.8 seconds after launch. However, at launch day, the actual altimeter reported only 694 feet. The rocket was in the air for a total of 20.5 seconds. So now this is the thrust stand data for our rocket engine, which is the Estes E9-4. It shows that approximately 5.75 seconds after being started, the rocket lifted off with an initial launch force of 1 Newton. The peak force on the rocket was about 12.16 newtons of force coming from the engine, which is at 5.981 seconds. And engine shutdown happened at approximately 8.64 seconds.
In this project, we had some very good and bad results. Our biggest success was the altitude. Our target altitude was 700 feet, but we actually achieved an altitude of 694 feet, so it was very close. Some major problems we had were the deployment of the parachute. So because the parachute did not deploy very well, the payload did not survive whatsoever.
1.
We learned a lot about rocketry and model rocketry in the process. Even though a rocket was mostly a success, we observed how hard it was to get a perfect flight from a rocket.
And another thing that we observed was that there's just so many factors involved in model rocketry. Like we designed our rocket on the Open Rocket Simulation software. However, that doesn't account for everything. Slight changes in wind direction, slight changes in the friction or how the surface is, or even just fin size. There's so many uncertainties in model rocketry that can affect your altitude a lot, even the smallest things.
We also learned that how important teamwork is to working and building a model rocket. One person can't do the whole project, so working together and communication was important to our success.